What's up? I'm Noelle at Noelle's Notions, and this is Fame by the Flame with Viceroy.
It's good to be back home, my Northern California vibes. Up here in Sacktown tonight, cannot wait to play.
Yes, and we are so excited that our Bay Boy is actually back in Northern California.
Yes.
Because I know you live in LA now.
I do.
Okay.
I sold out and went down there finally. After 6.5 years, I made the move.
Well, I know that you're making moves in general.
Yeah.
You have done a lot of work in the past years. Let's talk a little bit about you just in the beginning. So I know that you kind of started your DJing career kind of by a fault when you actually were traveling abroad in Rome during college, right?
Yes. I was 19 years old, so it's 2009 fall, studying abroad in Rome. Trying to get cultured.
Yeah.
And one night, so like 2 weeks in, I went to this like local place called Anima. It's like a lounge, and I was just drunk and went up to the DJ. And I was like, "That looks cool. I want to do that." And then I was like, "Hey man, I want a job here DJing." He's like, "Go talk to the manager at the front." That's my terrible Italian accent. I said that. It's more like Russian, Eastern European. So, anyways, I went and talked to the manager. He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you Tuesday nights. Bring a lot of Americans." I'm like, "Okay, sick. I got this." And I woke up and I was like, "What the fuck did I just do? Like, I don't know how to DJ. I've never promoted a party in my life. Like, I was just stupid." And we started doing it like weekly on Tuesdays, and all I had to do was like, "Hey, I got a $15 open bar," and all the kids were like, "Oh, yes, amazing." They showed up and just figured out on Ableton, using Ableton to DJ initially, and it was just like, okay, I figured out an easy way to do it, and then just my love for disco started there, I guess.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, you know, you're categorized as tropical house, but really your influences come a lot from kind of like disco and funk, right?
Totally.
So how do you want to talk about that? Like, why is that inspiring you?
It's interesting. I think just by the nature of my branding, it's very like especially my slogan, "Summertime all the time." The clothes I would wear in the past, I kind of like. I was doing like kind of new disco and making disco and funk stuff, and then tropical house came around just by nature of kind of like what I was wearing, my branding. I just kind of slid right into that whole world, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I did get good things for my career, but I always came more from like the kind of like funk and disco and pop stuff. So
yeah, and I know Chromeo is someone that you love to work with, right?
Love Chromeo. Yeah. I played with him a couple years ago for 4th of July in Gurney's. It's a place in Montauk and Hamptons.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a super fun beach party. I had not met them before that, but one of my like favorite bands of all time. And I'm like opening for them, but I'm actually like playing after them because they had to get to another gig. So I show up and I meet Dave and P, and I'm like, "What's up, guys?" Like in my head, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" And I love these dudes, fangirling out. But I'm just keeping it cool. I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like stoked to play with you guys. And like they had to head out and get to this car and like yada yada. And then they're like, "Hey man, you mind if we finish our set with your Nelly remix?" And in my head, I'm just like, "What the fuck?" I'm like,
is this real life?
Sure, dude, no problem. It's like, by the way, we're really big. No, actually, first they said we're really big fans of it, so I lost my mind. Then I lost my mind more, and they were like, "Yo, we're gonna play it." I was just like, "What is going on right now?" So no, love their music. Their new album is actually coming out, I think, next week.
Yeah, it's coming out for the summertime vibe. Yeah. And so, you know, speaking back on their performing your Nelly remix, so that actually comes from kind of like a package that you had of the Jet Life, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so I'm a big hip hop fan. My fans know that. And so I really love those remixes. I mean, you have 50 Cent. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because I noticed that you focus more on the lyrics and then kind of build the sound around it.
Yeah, I do that for generally, whenever I do a remix of like of any sort, I try to just kind of just take the acapella and just make a whole new song behind it. I don't like taking parts from the originals. Yeah. So for that, it's really fun to take these like kind of R&B and hip hop songs from the 90s that are nostalgic and sometimes untouchable, right? So you feel like I shouldn't be doing this. It's like, ugh, it's bad territory to like try to like mess with a classic. But I was like, no, I'm just trying to do a new rendition on it. I'm not trying to like mess with a classic. So no, they did really well for me. Somehow major labels would give me access to this stuff, which was crazy for free. Like I have all the stems for Ride With Me and like Ignition remix. Like I'm the only person in the entire country or world that has like they sent me a disc and it says the Ignition remix stems.
So they gave you like the bare minimum. This is what you can use.
Well, this is what I'm like. I think only them and me are the only people that have it. Like I'm pretty sure R. Kelly doesn't even have those stems. So I was like, so no, it was cool. So like I hear like all these weird takes. You hear like I have like ones with like Nelly like burping and smoking a blunt in the background before he's about to rap something. They're like unedited, so it's really funny stuff you hear. Yeah.
I really like kind of your twist on it, and I like the evolution of your music. I really want to talk about for you, how was it to go from someone who's never DJ'd in their life, right, to then, you know, having their own club night, performing, to now you're performing with like Chromeo, other major performers, you're doing shows, music festivals, traveling. How has your sound progressed as well as your fame? Like, you know, hand in hand, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's all been, the whole Viceroy project's been very organic from the get-go. You know, I've never been someone that's like, all right, I'm trying to follow whatever's hot right now, or like have this contrived like notion of what it should be, or the marketing aspect of it. It's always been like, hey, like, I like disco, cool. Let's make some, try to make some like disco house initially, and then I was like, oh, I like the name Viceroy. Like, why? Like, I don't know, it sounded cool in social studies in 7th grade, and I just remembered it, so it's now my name. Like, oh, summertime all the time. Yeah, I like summer a lot. That sounds cool. Like, you know, like that has always been that way for everything for me. So then with music, it's always been like, I'm just making what makes me happy, and keeping definitely a pop sensibility about it, because I think it's important, especially for the world I'm in. So yeah, that's how I started everything, and it just kind of hearing new music come out from different artists over the years. I'm like, ooh, I like that. Maybe we should try something with that and do that and that. So it's just always organic. I'm never trying to keep up with what's popular whatsoever. Yeah.
Well, and I know, you know, like you said, what's popular, you started kind of in the underground indie platform of SoundCloud.
Totally.
And you know, that's kind of like one of those things where it wasn't popular and now it's so popular because everybody's on it. And you do have some volumes on there of Lost in the Sauce, and I think you're on volume 3 right now, right?
Yeah, I did 3 of them so far.
Okay, so do you want to give fans like a little bit of background of?
Yeah, so that's actually really, it's really something new that I came up with last year. I was, you know, over the last, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but working on new music and stuff and figuring out what I'm gonna do, and I was like, oh, I want to try like a new party concept. So as much as I love like performing out my own music that I've done in the past, there's a lot of stuff that I just don't get to play, or because it's not, doesn't make sense for those sets, for Viceroy sets, right? For Viceroy, even the live shows or whatever I'm doing. So I was like, okay, why don't I come up with like a party concept where it's just like kind of like disco, like deep disco or whatever you want to call it, and I'm not playing any of my own music. Like it's like very branded that way. People, unless they're like blind, they're not, when they see the poster, like very much like, hey, and the advertise's like, I'm not playing any Viceroy tunes, just to let you know. It's like just much of like what I like to hear when it comes to dance music, like personally. So I started that last year at Audio in San Francisco, and I did it. I have a residency there, so I do that about twice a year there. I do it at Sound now. I'm having one coming up July 14th.
Okay, so later this summer.
July 14th. Sound LA. And then I'm doing it, I did it elsewhere, a new venue in Brooklyn. So it's been really fun for me just to kind of like give a breath of fresh air for me in my career, just to do something a little bit different. So yeah, that's just like, if you like disco and kind of like call it like deep disco, it's a little mix of stuff, but yeah, check it out.
Yeah, well, definitely fans, July 14th, LA.
Sound in LA, July 14th. So hashtag promo.
Yeah, so you guys definitely have to show up and show out for Viceroy. And so, you know, going back to making your own music. So I know you started out with doing a lot of remixes. You now have done a lot of your own music. Before we go into this next chapter of your musical career, let's kind of meet in that middle part. So some of the original stuff that you put out. Do you want to talk about maybe your favorite original song of yours?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, like, I was looking at that fire, mesmerized me for a second. I kind of, it's tough to say, like, you know, because I definitely, even if it doesn't seem for the most people that I've, like, evolved the sound all that much, I've tried, like, little things that are different amongst different years of, like, oh, like, back at the start with K-Flay was, like, a hip-hop tempo track original, because I was doing these hip-hop remixes. I'm like, I should do a hip-hop tempo track. And I had saxophone on it, and, like, I think I just tried something a little bit different, and it did really well for me, so I like that song. K-Flay, my girl, I booked her in college, and you know, she's killing it right now, and so I'm happy for her. So that was cool to work with her and put her in a little bit of a different space, and that's what I kind of try to do sometimes, put people that wouldn't be on a Viceroy track necessarily, because their original music's very different, and put them in a different world. So that one, weirdly enough, like I have a song from like beginning of my career called Chase Us Around that It's not my most streamed song, but it's by far the reason I get booked like nonstop,
Really?
especially colleges, huge at colleges.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
cool. So fun fact about that one.
Yeah,
right?
I have a big fraternity following. It's interesting.
I'm
And
actually
sorority.
not surprised.
Yeah, I know, and it's weird because like I was at I went to like a small liberal arts school in like frat life in the East Coast, and I think just because like the support from that like kind of world, like it just trickled to all the other like
Definitely,
fraternities. So like
definitely.
a song like "Chase Us Around" for me was like it's like it just I don't know, just kind of like built the initial brand of Viceroy like going forward at
Yeah.
that point.
Well, I'm glad that we're learning a lot about you that hasn't kind of been brought to light before. I know
Yes.
that you're a man of many talents, and you also, on top of now being this musical genius, let's say.
Oh gosh. That's a lot of pressure. That's just too much pressure.
But I want to talk about your entrepreneurship with the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Sure.
So your restaurant experience,
Yes.
your restaurant life, you like
I have
food.
zero restaurant experience. I've never worked in a restaurant. I can't. So I
see a similar pattern, right?
Yeah.
Like never done something. I'm just gonna go
honestly,
do it.
again, very organically. I wasn't planning on it. I like went to school, or I should say I went to school. And they were a little bit older than me, and they have like a bunch of bars and restaurants in San Francisco, like Tonic, Bullet, Dr. Teeth. There's a lot, and so they got me inspired to get into it, and was going to invest with them in one project that I guess it didn't end up working out or something like that with what happened. But then by chance, the guys that do Crossroads events in San Francisco, they have like Audio's also part of that group, Bergerac, and they happen to be opening a tropical Caribbean restaurant,
again, just
a
like
block from my
happens to
house,
fit, right?
and he's like, "Yo," like, and then the day after that other thing didn't happen, they were like, would you like to get involved in this? And I'm
Yeah.
like, so it's a Caribbean tropical bar / restaurant, like a block from my house.
Yeah, you're like, I'll
They're
definitely be the taste
sure,
tester.
Sure. So that one I just invested in, and they're like my really close friends. And then I started working for Crossroads and helping them do bookings and stuff. So that's how I got involved in that one. That's called Palm House in the Marina District on Union Street. It's delicious. And then, like a couple months later, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna open another spot in the Marina. It's called the Dorian, on Chestnut." And I was like, "Do you want to be a partner?" I'm like, "Sure." So we like fundraised and opened it up. So that's open. Gosh, 3 years I think coming up in September. And then
Yeah.
Palm House just had its 4th year anniversary last week.
Awesome.
So the Dorian on Chestnut Street in the Marina, and then we also have Palm House on Union Street in the Marina. So they're very different. One's like classic
Yeah.
American fare, raw bar, whiskey bar. That's like the Dorian, and the other one's, as I was saying, like a rum bar,
Yeah.
tropical Caribbean. So
That's cool. So you have like all the sides represented, right?
I don't
like
even
the
get to
classy
enjoy
and
it
then the
anymore.
party
I'm in
side.
LA now, which is the worst part. I'm like, I want to go all the time, miss it, you know?
Well, but even though you do miss the Bay
Yeah.
and Northern California will always be your home and close to your heart,
Yeah.
you are making moves out in LA. And, come June 19th,
Yes.
right? You are going
Drum
to...
roll.
Yes, right? You are actually going to be doing a big reveal, right?
Yes.
So do you want to, first on Fame by the Flame, kind of give fans a sneak peek into what that's going to entail?
So a couple months ago, I signed a record deal. I'm really
Congrats.
stoked. Yeah, I'm stoked, but it's like I've been independent with like a few different signings, like one-offs like Ditmach and the Knox label, Heavy Rock, and a few other things like that over the years. But I've never like been attached to a label. It's not because I'm like against it or anything like that. It's just there needs to be the right fit.
Again, happen organically.
Happen organically, yeah. And it's you hear a lot of artists that are in bad, shitty deals, and I don't want. I was making sure I didn't have that happen to myself. So no, like luckily I'm working with Cobalt / AWOL. They have like Tom Mish and Lauv and Rehab and Verite, like some really cool people, Don Diablo, and it's very 100% artist friendly. It's like
Awesome.
they're like making like a huge dent in that world of like going forward. It's like I own my music, I get to release when I want, I control the marketing budget. It's great. So I signed with them, and I'm releasing the first single. I took like a whole year off of pretty much doing like little shows here and there, and just working on a whole new batch of music that inspired me and trying to like evolve what I've done.
Yeah.
So I have on June 19th. It's going to be out everywhere. It is called Caught Me a Rhythm featuring another Bay Area guy, Marky Basie.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
so I'm super stoked. We've been working on the track. I had the track done like 3 years ago, and I just didn't have the right home, to fit everything. And so then like I was waiting. I really wanted to wait because I just like he's just super talented. And I wanted to like he was also having some stuff come out, so I wanted to make sure it was a good time to promote. But then I ended up reproducing it this year, and then I was just like, man, I love this. And so we're gonna start with that as the first track, and gonna be releasing a lot of music.
Cool.
About 10 songs in a year.
Wow. So you have definitely a full 2018/2019
yes,
ahead of you.
Got a lot going on.
Awesome. So fans, you guys will have to stay tuned, especially on your Instagram, right? Because then you're going to be doing a whole new
you'll see
on there.
Everything will be on there. Everything's going to be announced. Some new hot, sexy photos of your boy. There's just going to be a lot of stuff on there. So keep peeking onto my Instagram for any like news on that.
So I'm super excited for June 19th, you guys, and I want to expand a little bit more on that.
Sure.
So, you just had said briefly that you took a break for a year, not a full break, but more of a break to internally reflect on where your sound was going, how you kind of wanted to evolve as an artist. So, do you want to expand a little bit more on that?
Sure. Yeah. No. So, like, I've been doing this for 7 years, and I kind of want, if you don't explore new things as an artist, it can get stale, and you want to not even about keeping up with what's current, but just kind of keeping yourself sane and like being happy with what you're making. And I love, as much as I love like everything I was doing in the past, I just wanted to try some new things, and I'm not at all going away from what I've done, but it's definitely still fun, energetic music. I just wanted like a little bit less house music, maybe some different tempos, and switch things up. And looking back, what's been my most popular stuff, and realizing like a lot of the hip hop stuff you mentioned earlier. Not Chase Around, back at the start is like 83 BPM. So I was like, all right, my most popular music by far, by streaming numbers and what fans say they like, has been all this stuff under 105 BPM. It's not even house music. So I'm like, okay, let me work on that. So the last year I've been writing with just tons of people and just getting like a lot of stuff done. It's very like R&B and like urban influenced as far as like the top liners aren't the singers and rappers, but it's all like funk and disco based. So it's still like based in that world. It's just it's a little bit of more of a, I guess, a matured version of what I've been doing, and also just like kind of just maturing the branding a little bit, Well,
I was gonna say, kind of going back to the beginning of this interview, you said that your real influences came from disco and funk, but you kind of got funneled into more of the tropical house. So, from my perspective, and I'm sure from a lot of other fans, we're really excited to see you kind of go back to where your original roots are and not kind of be funneled into what others are expecting you should sound like, or you should be like, or the stuff you should be putting out.
It's still fun. It's not like I'm turning into like a Berlin techno DJ or something like that. No, it's still. I promise you guys will like it. It just gets me excited about making something a little bit different.
Well, and quite honestly, it's like if you're happy, your fans are going to be happy because that's going to come through in your music.
See the smile?
Yeah.
Happy.
Genuine, you guys. Yes. Genuine smile. I do want to also talk a little bit about the places you've performed. You've performed at a ton of different places. And speaking more of location-wise, each location kind of offers not only a different vibe of the venue, of just the area you're in and the people who are attending your show, but overall it's just a different feel. What is your favorite location to play in, or past location that you've played in?
Well, I obviously love playing in San Francisco because it's just I don't know, it's just like all the hometown crew comes out, and parents come out and party. It's like great. It's like a super fun time. So San Francisco by far is like always really fun to play. I definitely played some like interesting locations, like on the beach, like in Dominican, which is really fun. Oh, cool. Let's see where else. Things like that. Like generally wherever I can play on the beach. I just played at Gurney's in Montauk and the Hamptons last Memorial Day weekend. So like so like that's super fun. Like just anywhere I can play outdoors is like my favorite thing to do. Day parties and stuff like that, or pool parties or anything like that. So
definitely you still do like the beachy kind of pool house vibe. Which is great because you're performing at This Is Midtown. So that's definitely
outdoors. Yes. Boom. Exactly. So perfect example.
You get what you asked for, right?
Exactly.
So to final up this interview and kind of sum up, you've had a crazy road to be where you are right now. And I really love to kind of get behind the scenes sneak peeks of like artists' lives when they're performing. Do you have a really awesome story that maybe just sticks out in your head of a past performance or a past show, or like maybe shit just got a little too crazy?
Yeah, you know what? I actually was just, it was so funny. I forgot about this for a little bit. So I can't remember the year. It might have been 2015. I should know because there's a poster of it in my kitchen. But for the Treasure Island Music Festival, I played. And I did like the live set, so I had like my saxophonist and who plays also another instrument, the kai iwi. It's like a electric wind instrument. It's really cool. And then guitar and electric violin, and I had bongos. It was like super fun. I was just DJing that. Like it was a good time. It was like perfect weather. So later that night though, like I guess I don't know who was playing right before that. There's two stages, but like the artist lounge was dead. There's no one there. It was just us like hanging back there for a sec. I forgot why we were back there. But then, like, I look in the corner, and there's just, like, this big black guy just hanging around, dancing around like this, and I'm just like, who is that? What's he doing? He looks like all jazzed up or something, like super pumped. And I'm like, oh, that's Big Boy. I'm like, what is Big Boy doing back here right now? I know he's playing with he's doing the reveal of Big Grams at this, that they're playing about that time. Like, what's he doing? And I'm like, I used to work on Def Jam, so I was going to go into the music business side before I started DJing. I just happened to fall into it. So like, I was working on Def Jam, and I was working on Shutterbug and stuff like that. So like, I was like, oh, I got something. Anybody like that where I'm like, oh, I respect this person. I don't want to just go up to them and be like, hey man, love your shit. Can I get a picture? Like, I want to have something to actually say to them, you know? So like, I actually like had some interesting things to say to them that were like super like personal. I was like, oh word, like mutual homies or whatnot. So I went up to him, and I was a little bit drunk. I was just like, yo, Big Boy, you're all jazzed up right now. What's going on? He's bouncing around, super excited. He's like, oh man, I'm so excited right now. Like, I'm about to perform like my first time as Big Grams. I cannot wait. And I'm like, dope. And so then my friends come up, like then I make the little like, yo, I used to work on that, blah, blah, blah. And so then my friends come over from the guys in my band, Chris and Simon, and they're like, introducing, super nice guy. And he's like, yo, let's go. We're like, what? And then he just starts running in like the opposite direction. And I'm like, okay, follow him. And so we like follow him, like running full speed. I'm like, damn, he's fast. Like I was like, okay. So we get to the second stage, and suddenly like he's like handed a microphone. Like this is like all within like 10 seconds. Like he handed a microphone, walks on stage, and then he's just like, boom, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Like he had something in his ear or something like that telling him to do all this. It was like the most crazy thing I've ever seen. I was just like, what just happened? Yeah, because he knew it was like all on cue. So I'm like, throws a mic, like, boom, see you guys later, boom. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So I just remembered that actually. So that's a good story. I completely
he's just like totally on key, right? And just on cue. He had to have had to, right?
Because it was like crazy. I was like, this is like, the timing was impeccable.
Oh my gosh. Well, it just shows like total perspective, right? Like in his mind, he's like, okay, like a count, like we're about to ready to go. You're like, okay, we're just running like randomly, like we're to wherever.
It was the first song of their set, so like he had to know he was not in vision of the stage at all. So I was like, damn, dude. So it's cool.
Or maybe he's just that good. I think he's just that good.
Shout out Big Boy.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that story. I mean, I just think it's funny because a lot of people don't recognize that artists and performers are just people, right? And it's like, just like you were put into that circumstance, you know, it's like there's all these random things that happen backstage that lead to like these grand performances, you know, like that the fans don't hear about until it's like that person's on stage. And we go back later and talk about the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like those little moments I'll like remember totally for the rest of my life. Big Boy.
Well, I just want to say this is a moment I'll definitely remember, and I really appreciate you being on Fame by the Flame.
Of course. Thanks for this lovely fire.
I also want to thank Resonance Inn. Thank you so much for hooking up this guy right here.
Hook me up. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Marriott.
Because now you can stay out in the 916 for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm going to hang out tonight. Come to the party. Come hang out.
Yes, definitely.
Nice. I'll say I'm friendly. Come say hi.
Yes, please come party with Viceroy, Fame by the Flame. Until next time, fans, I'm Noelle at Noelle's Notions, and this is Fame by the Flame with Viceroy.
Excited to be back. Thank you so much for having me by the Flame.
Yeah.